when I was just a boy. Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, today is October 25th. You know what's also on the 25th? Well, Christmas, December 25th. We are just 60 days from Christmas Eve, and it's great to see you all here today. There happens to be a bit of Star Wars news this week, so we're going to talk about that. I've got a bunch of stuff to share, and I'm also I didn't have it in the original thumbnail, so I had to update the thumbnail. We've got some mystery boxes. Oh, I've got some boxes. That one's from Amazon. This one had to take a label off because it had my name and address on it. But this one here is from Rancho Obi-Wan. And if you haven't heard of Rancho Obi-Wan, we'll be talking about them just a moment, in just a moment. And then I've got this. I've got this package. This package comes to us from Hasbro right there. So this comes directly from Hasbro. So we will be opening some gifts. So want to say hey to all of you. Say hello. Thrawn Kill. Hello. Oh, 'tis the season indeed. You know, in just 2 weeks, November 10th in Columbus, Ohio. If you are anywhere near Central Ohio, on November 10th, it's Sunday, the Veterans Memorial in Columbus, Ohio, is going to have their annual Veterans Day celebration, and they have a Toys for Tots with the Marine Corps and all of that. Well, they're also going to have Santa and Mrs. Claus. So I'm going to be there, and a good friend of mine, Jackie, is going to be there as Mrs. Claus. So if you are anywhere near Columbus, Ohio, and you want to come recognize the veterans, maybe get a picture with Santa, stop on by the Veterans Memorial in Columbus, Ohio, and I will be there. And then just a couple of days after that, we'll be at the Columbus Zoo doing a private party there for a local hospital group. So, and then it's full-blown Christmas after that. So we've got Christmas. Peanut's got some things to say. Hold on a second here. Just a second. I see you're not exactly on screen here, Peanut. We'll bring you in just a little bit. There you go. That's Peanut. That's our African gray. She's 17 years old, and she's been hanging out with me here, so she's got things to say. It's great to see you all. Thrawn Kill, I saw you. Sabersmith, hello. Sabersmith just got finished building my gunship. Those Lego sets are amazing. Thank you for stopping in. Brandon Alvarez, good to see you as well, my friend. And of course, Matt Risman. When some news broke overnight, last night and this morning, I look at my phone and I see that a certain something happened. I thought, oh, Matt Risman. That was isn't it funny? That's the first thing I thought of. Matt Risman. So we'll be talking about the Rey movie here in just a little bit as well. Skywalker's Academy. Hello. Good to see you here, my friend. Thanks for stopping in, Dale. Brian Stone. Hello. Good to see you as well. Nick I knew Nick would be there as well. You know, Nick, he hangs out on Star Wars Meg's server quite a bit on her Discord, and this guy here, also on the Ray delay stuff. So, yes, please do the socials thing. It really helps the channel out a lot. And I wanted to make a couple of channel announcements here at the very beginning of the show. And one of them is that my wedding anniversary is next week. We got married on October 30th, 1900, back in the 1900s, 1986. So we got married October 30th, 1986. And in January, I shipped off to go to basic training for the U.S. Army. So we have our anniversary coming up next Wednesday, but we're going to postpone it. We're going to take our anniversary day off from work and spend time together next Friday. So there won't be a live stream next Friday. We'll be celebrating our anniversary somewhere. We're still debating about where is going to be, but that's next Friday. And then also, and I shared this on Patreon, but I want to share it here as well. For our patrons, I'm going to add another benefit for anybody that is a patron. You go to Patreon. The link is in the description of every YouTube video I have. And if you put !Patreon in the chat, then Streamlabs will give you the link to our Patreon. If you go to Patreon, then and join, you can join for just as little as $1 a month. I've got over 200 videos on Patreon that are not anywhere else. I think there's a couple of them that are here as well, but there's a little over 200 videos out there on Patreon. And I plan to add a few more here in the next few days. Most of those are book readings. We're going through chapters of books. So you can follow along in some books there. And I'm going to add another benefit. So with your Patreon membership, you can get the $1 super chat. We say $1, but it's free with your membership, where you can put in a topic, question of your choice, something you've been wondering about. And if it's Star Wars related, something that we can share publicly, then we will include it in the next live stream. I have to say it that way because some of you all are naughty. And so I have to watch, but we use that like a super chat, just like if you were here on YouTube and you put a super chat in. Well, if you're a patron, then you get that benefit for no additional cost. And you can put as many questions, comments, anything in there that you like, and I will address it on a live stream. Also, with that membership comes a monthly YouTube Zoom meeting where we get everybody together and we talk about various topics, talk about some things that I can't share publicly, some personal stuff, some Star Wars stuff, different things like that. So we do that once a month. But the additional benefit that I'm adding is a one-on-one call. If you want to have just a call with me, if you're one of our patrons, you hit me up and we'll schedule it. We'll make it happen. And you can do that once a month. And some of you do it already, but I'm making it publicly available for all of our patrons. If you reach out to me and you would like to talk about some things, maybe you just want somebody to hang out with. Maybe you've got some Star Wars questions. Maybe you'd like to talk about what you want for Christmas, whatever that might be, any topic, your choice, your time. We can have those discussions. So the famous, the infamous, the one and only Chosen Pun. The Chosen Pun is here in the chat. Mike Porter, good to see you, my friend. We have a great Mike Porter dad joke today. So stay tuned for that later in the show. So Patreon is really the best way you could support the channel. Also, your YouTube memberships are fantastic. Super chats, all those things help go a long way towards making this channel viable and for us to do some of the things we do and have some fun. So thank you all for being here. We do have some news to talk about. We're going to get to that in just a bit. Says, yeah, Thrawn, the bird is quietly dismembering the background. Yes, she is. She's she's back there just tearing that thing apart, which is great. That's what it's supposed to do. You know, she's the foraging behavior of parrots in captivity. A lot of them end up in depressive states, and they do some self-harm and things like that. So it makes me very happy to see her back there completely tearing that apart. All right, first thing up, Rancho Obi-Wan. Now, if you guys haven't heard of Rancho Obi-Wan, it is the most comprehensive collection of Star Wars memorabilia on the planet. Rancho Obi-Wan's in California. They have a charity, a 501c3 kind of situation, and it's a organization that I support with the money that the revenue that I make from here. I make donations to Rancho Obi-Wan every year, and as a part of that, Rancho Obi-Wan annually sends me a little package. So this time I thought, well, you know what? I'd like to promote Rancho Obi-Wan and show you guys what you get. Not only do you support a fantastic organization, a group that does great work and has, like I said, the most comprehensive Star Wars memorabilia collection on the planet. They also have some private events. They have things where you can, if you're in that area, you can stop by and participate in some pretty cool interviews they have with some very high named people. So so you get one of these. This is a pin. Every year it's a little bit different. This year, this is kind of cool. This is different than the ones I've gotten in the past. Typically, they're different shaped and colored. This one has a neat little thing. Right? This has got a little hanging bar on it. It says Member 2024. So there's the Rancho Obi-Wan logo with Member 2024 right on it. So that's one of the things you get. And then what else do you get? Well, let's see. You get this card. Let me get this out of here and then make sure that the envelope's empty. Yep. Okay. So every year I get a card. It's a bit of like a Christmas card. You can see right on it, it's got Star Wars Santa, and it's got my membership number, 4151, right there. So there's the Rancho Obi-Wan card, and then inside, right? This is great. There's additional things they send. So this year it's a little bit different. Sometimes it's in a folding card, but look here, we get I get a membership card. So it's right there. It says Star Wars Santa, inspired for the force of the imagination since 2012. So you get a card that you can put in your wallet or whatever. You also get one of these fantastic. This here is a patch, right? So you can get this patch, iron it on, sew it onto your jacket, whatever you like. And every year this patch is a little bit different. So there's the patch. So you get a pin, you get a patch, you get a card, and plus you get this fantastic letter. And they tell you what's going on. It says, last year our tour schedule continued to double up on many Saturdays, especially spring and summer. We want to acknowledge hardworking, dedicated docents and shadows who make every tour possible. Notice international visitors starting to return. And it talks more about the work. It says, thanks to your generosity, in 2023, we welcomed just over 1,000 people on tours, trained two new tour docents, had objects on display at the Petaluma. Again, if you're in Southern California, that helps. Visitor Center, Castellogo Sharpstein Museum, and created a new Lego exhibit in time to celebrate 25th anniversary of Lego Star Wars. And there's more. It says, we've been cheered by announcements of Star Wars movies returning to big screen in the not too distant future as we continue to enjoy the wealth of streaming programming. Thanks for your vital support of our mission, inspired through the force of imagination. So right there. So Rancho Obi-Wan, I got my annual membership from them. Nerd Mafia, good to see you. This guy, I saw his out of reaction video last night as he was driving home from watching that Venom movie. But we talk Star Wars here, so I will mention I'm thrashing my friend Nerd Mafia on his own predictions game. It's his game, and he's in last place. It's great. I think I might be a little bit off on that, but I'm pretty sure Skywalker's Academy passed him. So that puts Nerd Mafia in last. So great fun. Next box. We've got a mystery box here. We've got from Amazon. So we've got an Amazon package here. We're going to open and Nerd Mafia says if he didn't miss a week, he would have passed. You know, I missed a week. I know on Nerd Mafia's predictions game for the Agatha show. I did so well on the first two that I was Matt. That I'm still ahead. I hope it's not another rate. You know, that was disturbing. It's right there. By the way, that we can have a look here. I've got it right here, Matt. There it is. This is crazy. This is the only like that doesn't look like Rey. I mean, it's got the three braids, and she got her staff. This is her outfit, but you know that doesn't look like Rey. Anyway, let's see what's in here. We've got this Amazon Prime box. By the way, we're going to get to this too. I made a little comment yesterday, and I think I want to stick by it. And that when this Rey movie comes out, and it will come out because I'm saying that it will. I mean nothing. But anyway, when it comes out, I'm gonna make a trip down to Jacksonville, Florida, so that Matt Risman and I can do an out of the theater reaction video together. How about that? All right, inside of here, we got a great big box with a lot of paper in it. This is typical, but it's actually not bad. It's going to protect that card, right? So we take this out. Lots of paper. And this figure, this is actually a figure that I am very, very happy they released. And I see that they're making a couple of variations of it. So here you go, Cobb Vanth. I think he's one of the best characters that was introduced. A new character. A lot of new characters introduced to Star Wars through The Mandalorian. Cobb Vanth happens to be one of my favorites. I think he's a fantastic character. The sheriff of Freetown. But this figure here, there's a couple of problems with this figure that I've seen in reviews. The one is the gauntlets that are on his wrists are part of the mold. And so if you take off part of the outfit, well, actually, yeah. Let me open this because I want to show you guys what the problem with this figure is. It's got a lot of good stuff, but it's got a problem, and I want to show you. So let me take this. So here we go. We've got the figure out of the packaging. There you go. It's empty. we'll set this aside. And of course, you got the helmet, and this helmet actually replaces his head. So with a lot of these figures, there's two ways they do it. They either have it so that the helmet fits over the head, so that you can put the helmet on and off. But when they do that, it changes the proportions of the figure so that the head is really oversized for the body. This is one of the more preferable ways, right? Is to make the head replaceable. But I wanted to point out one of the flaws or issues with, oops, I'll get his helmet later. But one of the issues with this one is he's got this tubing on here for the flamethrower. And this is fantastic when you have the flamethrower action going on, right? Now, flamethrower's in here. We've got all the stuff. But when you're doing the flame throwing, right, that's built into the gauntlet, actually, right? That you can't take off the gauntlet, and you can't take off the. So even though this armor is removable, right? You can take the armor off, and you get Cobb Vanth there. Hold on, let's pop his head off here. We're gonna. There we go. Cobb Vanth, headless Cobb Vanth. We're gonna take off his handkerchief necklace there. We're gonna take off his armor. The armor comes off, right? But it causes a bit of a problem. I've seen this in the reviews. Look at that. It's attached. It's attached. Like, it comes off. He's got this great shirt on underneath that looks like, casual Cobb Vanth. He looks great. Timothy Oliphant, my goodness. Dude's got a lot going for him in life. But there you go. This outfit here is great. Except, he's got a little attachment. It's stuck. Now, the one thing you can do is this will pop loose from the suit, so there you go. You take that off, but then he's still got this thing going on. La, 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 la. It's attached. And this is actually molded into the arm piece, so you can't take it off without causing some damage. So they're actually going to release another Cobb Vanth, or they're supposed to be releasing another Cobb Vanth that is without the tubing there. So that's, this is kind of a problem, but it's a great figure. Cobb Vanth, you're going to want him with the armor on. You're going to want him as he shipped, right? So I'm going to take the head off again. I'm going to put the armor back on. All right. Going to put the kerchief around his neck. All right. We're going to do that and give him his head back. This is how you're going to want to display him with the full, deal. But he ends up giving Boba Fett his armor back. So this is Boba Fett's armor. He ends up giving it back. So you need a Cobb Vanth without the armor. And that's one of the things. It's a very cool figure. Matt Cave Gaming, good to see you here. Good to see you. Yes, and KG, good to see you as well. It's a very cool figure. I'm very happy to have it. And Peanut's got some things to say. Right? I hear you. We all hear you. Yeah. She's being good. All right. Lastly, I've got one more box to open, and then we'll get to some of the news. Right? Matt Cave says, I just got home with new figures, not Star Wars. It's WWE, and found mispackaged one. Oh, a mispackaged one. That's like winning the lottery. That's like getting that's fantastic. Congratulations, Matt. Hold on to that thing. That's great. Because those get very, very valuable, right? Yeah, Peanut likes Cobb Vanth as well. All right. How you doing, Peanut? How you doing? How you doing? We're opening this box. Yeah, I'm opening the box. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna open the Hasbro box. We're gonna see what Hasbro sent us. Yeah, I hear you. Plenty loud. Okay, here we go. Yep. This is actually really good. This set builds out your Mandalorian set, and this is a sizable box, right? Look here. What comes in? Mike Yaney, hello. Good to see you, Mike Yaney. This is quite a big card back, right? You got Mandalorians there on the back. We got 4 Mandalorians in the package. Look at that, full with their back, their jetpacks. They fly now. We've got jetpacks, we've got blasters, we've got batons, we got the whole deal just to build out a nice Mando set. This is great. One thing, I saw Tim Bosk's Bounty do a review of this, and I agree with him. You know, a lot of the builder sets that they've had, when you go, multi-pack of figures, they come in a white box with some interesting graphics on. Let's see if I've got one here. I do not have one. I don't have one readily available to grab, but they typically come in a white box, and they've got like some art on the outside. It's just black and white, and you open it, and the figures are just packed in there, kind of loose-ish. This is much better when you get to like vintage collection figures. When you put the figures in where you can see them behind the plastic there and the window, it's much more collectible this way. And I think it's great. It's Mandalorian Shriek Hawk set. Just a wonderful, wonderful set. So thrilled to have this as well. And then you're loud. There's one other bit of news when it comes to that is our Ghost, the vintage collection Hasbro HasLab Ghost is scheduled to be released. The latest news is it's coming later this year. We're talking probably early December, in time for Christmas. Oh, yeah. Hi. You want to come over? No, you want pets. She wants. All right, we've got other Star Wars news to talk about, and I think let's just start. Let's just go ahead. Hold on one second. Here, come here. Step up. Step up. You're being too loud, so I'm going to bring you over here. Yeah, and that'll make you be quiet for a minute. Now you're like, I want back. Yeah. She's like, I want to go back. I got my toys back there. I got food and water. Yeah. All right, here you go. There. All right. All right. Here we go. The Star Wars news. And I was just watching the Den of Nerds. I was watching Josh Lucas. And we're talking about this Rey movie, right? Boy, oh boy. Let me bring up a story here. Our friend Bespin Bulletin did a story about this, and I'll just use this as the talking point here. We had 2 stories. The first one was on came out here on October 23rd, right? So just 2 days ago, October 23rd, Daisy Ridley tells fans that Star Wars New Jedi Order is evolving and there'll be an update soon. Now, I've heard of some of the things that I'm hoping that they announce, but that have not been made public yet. And the story, as she reports it, let's just jump into Bespin's story here and take a look. It says, during a screening of her upcoming movie, Magpie, hosted by Collider. So we had a Collider interview where Daisy shared a brief update on the New Jedi Order film being written by, well, Stephen Knight. Put a pin in that, right? It says being written by Stephen Knight and Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. Now, just to pick on a nit, I think Stephen Knight is writing and Charmin Obaid-Chinoy is directing. So in this case, we don't have writer director. There may be some, or may have been some collaboration between Stephen and Charmin when we talk about the story, but the writer is Stephen Knight. The director, Charmin Obaid Chinoy. Well, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. We'll come back to that. Says things are evolving. I continue to be very excited. There will be an update soon. Now, you guys may remember D23 happened just a short while ago here in the States. And there were a number of announcements that I was expecting. I had a long list of things that we were expecting them to announce when it comes to Lucasfilm that they did not announce. They left them off the table. And I can understand that to a degree. We want to focus on the now. We'll let the future come when the future gets here. But there's a slight problem with that. I'm going to pick you up again. Here, come on. Come on. You're being too loud. And you're being too loud. I'm going to bring you over here. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. So here, just get here. There. So with the announcements they did not make, we were just wondering, okay, when are they going to make those announcements? Are they going to do them, at an investor meeting? Are they going to wait until Star Wars Celebration next year? What's the plan? And we haven't heard the plan. I'd say the safe money says it'll be next year. It's Celebration. And when Daisy says there will be an update soon, we don't know when that is. And so as KG mentions, possibly news at D23 Brazil, that's coming up. I would be surprised if that's where we get too much news, but I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I'm saying I don't really expect it in that. I'd say chances are slim, but we'll see. We could be surprised. It goes on further. Bestman continues to say, the last time Ridley spoke on the upcoming flick was in July, and when she told hosts that the movie might begin shooting in 2025, and she still had not read a script 15 months after. So let's go to the next story, right? Let's just go on because we have an update today. Today comes out, Stephen Knight reportedly exits Daisy Ridley's Star Wars New Jedi Order movie. Oh boy. So let's read it. Because as Meg pointed out on her Discord, the internet does what the internet does. And sometimes you got to be a little bit careful. It says Stephen Knight reportedly exits. It says, according to a new report from Matt Belloni at Puck News. Now, this Puck News thing is not necessarily the top of the list of reliable news outlets. Not saying he's not right. I'm just saying he's not at the very top. He's gotten a lot of things fairly good. He's probably has an inside source at Lucasfilm that has information he's getting, and so he's able to share some things. That'd be my guess. But it says, according to Matt Belloni, and I've heard that name before. Sounds like it sounds like baloney when I say it. I'm not saying that's how it's pronounced, but that's how it sounds. And it says, following the exit of the film's original writers, remember we had Damon Lindelof and Justin Gibson. These were the original writers. Lindelof had been working on a project close to 2 years before he was asked to leave the project by Kathleen Kennedy-led Lucasfilm. Now, this is funny. Good job, Bestman. Managed to, make it sound like he was asked to leave by Kathleen Kennedy. No, he was asked to leave by Lucasfilm, with rumors that Lindelof's script featured an elderly Rey Skywalker. So this was the original story. There was an elderly Rey Skywalker, maybe in her 70s. And then, as Josh was saying on his live stream over at the Den of Nerds, they got Daisy involved. And they said, no, we want to change that from 70-year-old Daisy to Rey to Daisy Ridley Rey. And so there had to be some changes. So we've understood that. And then at Celebration last year, or this year, the last Celebration, they brought Daisy on the stage and said, hey, we're doing a movie. Woo! Big celebration. Woohoo! Big movie. Everybody was thrilled to death. I say everybody, just because you go to certain other channels, they say nobody was excited. So I'm just going to say everybody, no. Look, the crowd there received it warmly. I won't say it was like the biggest news of the day for the crowd. It wasn't the biggest cheer of the day, but it was warmly received, and it has gotten a good bit of traction since. It's gotten a lot of folks excited, but folks like myself who were fans of the sequel trilogy. And if you know me, I love the character of Rey Skywalker. So that's been exciting. But but once Stephen Knight joined the project, the film abandoned the idea of an older Rey. Right, so we switch writers, we switch age, we kind of tweak it. That's not to say that Lindelof's, if you go all the way back, right, you go back to Lindelof's script. It's not to say that they jettisoned the entire concept. It's that they had to write it for a younger Rey. So then Stephen Knight comes on. He works on it for a while. It says Stephen Knight is best known for his work on Peaky Blinders and other works such as Locke, Eastern Promises, Spencer, as well as the TV show Taboo. His next written effort, the film Maria, starring Angelina Jolie, is due to release later this year. All right. Says Puck News did not mention any of the reasons for Knight's exit, but mentioned Lucasfilm are now in the process of finding a new writer for the project. No mention of the film's director, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, so you assume Chinoy's position is safe. However, the report does mention that New Jedi Order is unlikely to do the December 2026. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. There's another story making its way around the interwebs that today there are stories say that the Mando Grogu movie has finished principal filming, which means it's moving right along. If we look, there were two movie dates, December dates of particular interest. One was 2026, one was 2027. The Mando Grogu movie is most certainly a 2025 release. What would fill the 2026 date if not the Rey movie? Now, keep in mind, the Mando Grogu movie went into production earlier this year, like May timeframe. And then if they're done in October, by the end of October, 5 months of filming, 6 months of filming, then what are the chances that we could get by, say, this time next year, a script where they could start filming? Hold on a second. I had a little incident here. Yeah, had a little incident. That they could start filming on the Rey movie this time next year and be done with it by like May next year and be done with it October next year and still meet a 2026 date. Could be, right? So I'm not saying that it won't meet a 2026 date, but I'm also not saying it will. And for the record, my mug of copium is empty. I already drank all of it. So there's that. Let's see. LTR X Litrix, whatever, says Stephen DeKnight. That's who I was thinking of, was mildly assured, then realized my mistake. Still, I'm one of those who keep positive until I've seen it myself. Yeah, I'm staying positive as well. Matt, there's no 2025 release date for Star Wars anymore. Mando Grogu would be May 2026 unless they made a new slot for it in 2025. Perfect point, Matt. Right? We had December 2026 plus May 2026 and a December 2027. Those were our 3 Star Wars movie dates. And things have been moving around. If they finished principal filming for Mando Grogu now, say October 2024, then is it really going to be 18 months before they release it to theaters? That much time in, reshoots and then post-production? That seems unlikely to me. I think it's more likely, if that story is true, that it'll release sometime in 2025. The Rey movie may be 2026. It may be 2027 for all we know. Right? We just don't know. She really wants to go back. Here, you want to go back? Here, turn around. Yep, turn around. Here, there you go. All right, now you gotta be quiet. All right. No. So the Rey movie could be 2026 or 2027. Contrary to my friend's hazing, right, is that I think the Rey movie will still happen. I think there's lots of good reasons for it to happen. And I also understand all the reasons why people don't want it to happen. If you didn't like the sequel trilogy and you didn't care for the Acolyte, and you don't like a lot of the newer Lucasfilm Star Wars content, I could say that you would say, no thanks, I'm out, right? I could absolutely see that. The question then is, then what would you get, right? And I understand, I listen to a lot of folks. I listen to the folks over at EBN, Matt Risman, often co-hosts over there, or even solo hosts over there. And I understand a lot of the arguments for kind of resetting the franchise. But we have to understand George Lucas Star Wars, led by George Lucas, is an era that has come to its close. The future of Star Wars lies with Lucasfilm under the Disney umbrella. And most likely that's going to involve Dave Filoni. And now Dave has been responsible for some of the stories that people don't like, and he's responsible for a lot of stories and characters that people do like. So it's a mixed bag out there with the Star Wars fandom, and it's hard to say. In related news, Kathleen Kennedy's contract, rumored, comes to an end. Well, not rumored. The contract that we know of comes to an end this month, which ends next week. We've not heard any update on the extension of that contract. We did hear a news story come out a little over a month ago that said her contract, that she was going to be around to at least mid 2025, second quarter 2025, at least. We have not heard the updates on that contract, the extension, or the terms. So we can work under the assumption that the contract has been completed. It's been written. We just haven't gotten the details of it. So with a Kathleen Kennedy-led Lucasfilm under the Disney umbrella, the stories being led by Dave Filoni, who is now the chief creative officer, hopefully will continue to sharpen, right? Continue to get a little better, and more fans will be able to enjoy the Star Wars that Lucasfilm creates moving forward. It's been a mixed bag, right? I'm not the biggest fan of the Acolyte, but I also liked it a lot better than not having it. I'm looking very much forward to our next story we're going to talk about with the Skeleton Crew. But after the Skeleton Crew and Ahsoka season 2, by the way, another tangent. I just was rewatching Ahsoka season 1. Boy, I like it. And I've also been reading Fate of the Jedi. It's a series of expanded universe legends novels that involve Abeloth in a time about 40 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Great series. Absolutely fantastic series. And learning about Abeloth and thinking, maybe the folks who think Abeloth is going to be in the Filoni-verse, in the Mandoverse, could be something. Yeah. Nick says, I'm confused. Is the Mando and Grogu movie the same as the rumored big Avenger style? No, it's not. It's another movie after that, Nick. So we have the Mando Grogu movie is Jon Favreau's movie. That's the one led by Jon Favreau. The Avengers style Mando movie that's supposed to be like the big Avengers style ensemble film is the one that Filoni is going to be leading. But that movie will not come until after Ahsoka season 2, which the last we heard, Dave was still writing. Dave hadn't even completed writing Ahsoka season 2, hadn't even started to think about writing the movie. I mean, I'm sure he thinks about it. He's got some bullet points, written on the back of a napkin someplace, right? But that movie comes after. So we've still got quite a bit of time before we get that ensemble movie. Yeah, that's a good ways off. Yeah, as Dale said, right? Mando and Grogu is Favreau's. The conglomeration is Filoni's, but that'll come much later. KG, later this decade. Yes, much later this decade. All right, so we've got the Rey movie. Is it happening? Is it not happening? I want to touch base with that, and I don't know. I was hoping that maybe Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net or Bespin might stop in and talk. But I was chatting with Bespin and Jason earlier today. We were messaging back and forth, and there's been some stories, there's been some information that, and I think Jason and or Bespin have said this publicly, and I think it's been published other places. So, guys, forgive me if I overstep. Please, I'm trying not to overstep. But for better than a year now, we've kind of thought that we were going to end up with a different writer by the time this was done. This is not to be unexpected. This is not like the sky is falling, that everything is in disarray. None of that is true. That we were not going to see Stephen Knight be the last writer on this is not new news. That it's now is sort of news, but we don't even know that necessarily for sure. But there was a good point that Jason Ward made earlier today, and this is in a private DM. So Jason, I hope I'm not. This feels like it's not private information, but it was shared in DMs. It says that he was telling Bespin last night. So this is today. Jason was talking to Bestman, said he always believed that rest a decade before episode 10. Wait a minute. No, he said before that. He said, not saying it's good, but Knight was never going to be the final writer. Right? Remember, Rogue One had at least 5 writers, and I suspect as many as 6. So if we're talking, we have 3 down, we've got another 2 or 3 to go. No, the other question then, and Bestman brings it up, just kind of touches base on it, that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy being the director, my own opinion, and just based on discussions I've had with Jason and Bestman and my thoughts on it, and especially seeing this now, is that Sharmeen may never end up directing this film. And depending the direction they go on replacing Stephen Knight, they may end up with a writer-director. One person that does the writing directing. And that one person, and we were chatting about who that could be. So let me throw it out there to you. If you were to pick or speculate might be a better term. If you were to speculate about who the writer-director, one person that's going to do the writing and directing of the Rey movie, with the assumption, the underlying assumption that the movie will happen with Daisy Ridley and cast. Expect more information on that casting to come somewhat soon as well. But let's say that, let's speculate that is going to happen. Who would be the writer-director you think is most likely to fill the shoes of Stephen Knight and Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy? Yeah. Who do you think? Speculate. KG says, I don't feel like she has an extension enough resume for Star Wars movie personally. Extensive enough resume. Yeah, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. Yes, for sure not. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy for sure will not be the writer-director. And my guess is that she's not going to be the director, right? My own speculation. This is just, a knucklehead sitting in a basement with his whistling parrot, right? That's it. I think Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy will not be the director of the Rey movie. Pick your writer-director. Speculate. Who might it really be? I mean, there's people that I would love it to be, like Peter Jackson. I would love to see a Peter Jackson Star Wars trilogy. Oh my goodness. The whole wish is fulfilled. That would be great. I saw some other people saying, what about, we've still got Steven Spielberg out there. Steven's still doing stuff, and Steven was integral in some of the early Star Wars stuff. He collaborated with George Lucas a lot. Who do you think it might be? Right? Yeah, Matt says, I think they replace her is the director. The movie does not happen at all. And I don't think the movie is going to happen at all anyway. I know, Matt, but that's why I laid the foundation. Let's say you're wrong. just pretend for a moment that you're wrong, and that the movie is going to happen, and it is to go forward. Who might that writer-director be? Who might the writer-director be for the Rey movie? That's the supposition. It's going to happen. I'm going to fly down to Jacksonville, and you and I are going to do an out of the theater reaction to it. It's already planned, right? Tickets are already bought. It's happening. Who's the writer-director? Right? Who is it? Mike Yaney brings up Rian Johnson. That's who I brought up when I was chatting with Jason and Bestman and Meg, because Star Wars Meg was in the chat as well. I brought up Rian Johnson. It could be. I think Rian Johnson could do a great. He's already done some writing, directing in this era with Daisy Ridley, with the characters Rey, Finn, Poe, Rose, Kylo, right? Rian Johnson might be a controversial choice, but I think Rian Johnson's a very likely choice. Bryce Dallas Howard, BDH. Oh, BDH. Bryce Dallas Howard. She has a very good resume with the Star Wars on Disney Plus, with directing several episodes of different shows, including the one to come, Skeleton Crew. She's a director in Skeleton Crew. BDH. I don't know if she's up for the writing directing, but she could certainly fit the bill. The one I saw, Jason said, "My fear, somehow JJ has returned." Oh, what do you think about JJ? Yikes. Matt Risman, Ron Howard. Ron Howard would be great, Matt. That's a great name to drop. It goes right with Bryce Dallas. Get a father-daughter doing the Star Wars together. How awesome would that be? Ron Howard and Bryce Dallas Howard writing, directing the Rey movie. I like it. I like it a lot. Ron Howard picked up the pieces of Solo, a Star Wars movie, right? He made the best of it. He could. I think that would work. David Fincher or Christopher Nolan. Oh, Christopher Nolan's a hot name. It's possible, right? Matt Risman. What? No. Because if they named Matt Risman to be the writer director of the Rey movie, the first thing he would do is throw the whole thing in the bin and say, "Go home. We're done." It'd be a short job. Yeah, it would be a short. Yeah, Dale. Let's see. Yeah, Nerd Mafia. So my good friend Nerd Mafia says, if it's going to happen, and I know Nerd Mafia, we had lunch together here in Ohio not too long ago. My wife and I met him and we had lunch together. I know this isn't the number one thing on his list to see in Star Wars. So he's closer to Matt Risman on this than Santa. He says, if it's going to happen, might as well go with Rian Johnson and make it as unappealing as possible. KG, father-daughter collab. I like it. I really like that. Yeah, JJ Abrams. More to come. Like I said, I've drank an entire flask of copium, so I'm good to go. And I just reached out to my friend Baymax and said, I tried to get Matt to get EBN to make a copium, some copium merch, some EBN copium merch. And I haven't seen any progress on the EBN copium merch. So I'm going to make some Star Wars Santa copium merch. So you can get a flask that says copium right on it. And when this kind of news comes about, or like Nerd Mafia, he went and watched that movie last night. He could have driven home with a whole flask of copium. He'd have felt a lot better, right? So I definitely need a copium, right? I need one of those. All right. Other news is around this Skeleton Crew stories that have come out. And you guys, if you haven't seen Star Wars Meg's video today, I think I love Meg. I love her videos every single day. Meg is my go-to, and when she puts her videos out late, it makes me sad. But so earlier today, I saw Meg posted a fantastic video on all of this news. And I encourage you, watch it. Watch it. It's the best thing you could do. So here we go. Skeleton Crew. We've got some photos here. And as Meg pointed out, and I'm going to zoom in on this, this writing on the wall here is very likely Sith kind of writing. We've got an alien species back there in the background. You can see overlooking. This is our friend Neil. This is the young elephant-ish species in the background. That's Neil, and you can see the Sith writing here. And this very likely a Sith temple, a Sith runes of some sort. Yeah, something like that. I think we're very much looking at some sort of Sith area that they've discovered. Oops, wrong window here. Hold on, let's get this. So they're exploring some Sith writing, and I'm sure somebody will have this translated soon. When we were watching Ahsoka, and this is another reason to go back and watch Ahsoka season 1 again, there were these kind of writings there as well. And there's a lot of speculation about the Zepho and tied to Peridia. And we have the witches of Dathomir. They go back to the witches in Peridia. That this could be part of that witch coven, and this Sith writing here is related to that. That might be the thread that connects all of this together. It's just a reminder that this Skeleton Crew happens in the Mandoverse era. So it happens alongside Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and this goes right in. So yeah, Sith or Zepho. Could be a Sith Zepho kind of thing. Very excited about that. And Meg did a great job. I am hyped, super hyped to see some tie-in here with what we've seen in the Mandoverse. And again, you see Neil back here in the background. There's Neil. How adorable. This guy here is quickly becoming, I think, a merch ready. He is merch ready. This should be great. Matt Risman, I am really excited for this show. That's great. I think it has maybe the heart and soul of Star Wars. And I want to touch base on this because it bears saying that a year ago, we were talking a lot about the Acolyte. And Jason Ward said that Disney, Lucasfilm, had pretty much put all their eggs in that basket as being the thing. And by that, he means Mandalorian was going to movies. It wasn't going to continue in Disney Plus show. And that they were trying to establish a new foundation to move forward the stories. And the Acolyte was supposed to be that. It was supposed to be the big thing that then launched another Mandalorian type thing where we have a Mandoverse. Well, the Acolyte happened before the prequels, and it was supposed to launch a bunch of stories. And now we've seen some things come out about the continuation of Plagueis there as well. And that did not, right. Nerd Mafia says, and they failed. Yes, it did not make it. So if that's the case, what is the next thing? And I think it's very possible that, and I have to watch getting too hyped. I think the Skeleton Crew may have all of the ingredients to be something to get people super excited about, right? Super excited about. So now I'm like, well, there were other stories. I'm just tamping down the hype a little bit. Remember back when Ahsoka was filming, Skeleton Crew was filming next door. They were adjacent. A lot of the people working could make their way back and forth between one studio and the other. Like Dave Filoni was getting in the old golf cart there and tootling over to the Skeleton Crew Same for Bryce Dallas Howard. Right? She was directing in the Ahsoka, and she was directing in Skeleton Crew. So they would take these shuttles, the golf carts back and forth. These things happened at the same time. And that's going to come up in some of these pictures. But remember when that came out, and Jason reported this as well, makingstarwars.net, that there were some talk about how bad the work environment was on the Skeleton Crew, and the people who were working on Ahsoka were happy. The people working on Skeleton Crew were, I'll say, taxed. Right? They were not having the best days of their lives. Not to say, and Jason made a really strong point to say this. The people working on it were working hard, and the people working on it were doing good work. It's just that the work environment wasn't great. And this is the same time we had like strike things going on. All kinds of stuff was happening. But the people over at Skeleton Crew, that was supposedly not the best thing. Working there. It's not to say that because it looks great, and I'm getting super hyped. I'm just trying to tamp down the hype one bit. There was a lot of discontent from people working there. There were also some other rumors that, and we saw this come out earlier this year, where they were talking about there was some folks at Lucasfilm who were concerned about the Skeleton Crew not being ready for prime time. I'll put it that way. Now, this led a lot of people to say, well, if they thought Acolyte was good and they think Skeleton Crew is bad, then they live in alternate universe. That means Skeleton Crew is going to be good, and since the Acolyte was bad, right? We don't know. I'm excited. I enjoyed the Acolyte well enough. I've gone back and rewatched it even after the series ended. So I'm happy. Let's see. Litrix. Let me go back. I've seen several comments coming from Litrix. Let me go back and see. Dale says Balin is supposed to be in Skeleton Crew. I don't think so. I don't think so. Skywalker's Academy. So cool. I thought it was a thing going, and I just missed it. Pumped for this show. Happy to learn it first here. Thank you. Oh yeah, it's coming up. We're less than we're like a month and a half away from the Skeleton Crew. First seasons are always rough with people. Wish people would have given it a chance, but I understand there was a lot of promise and not delivered. Don't get me started on the explanation. Yes, I know. Look, yeah, I don't want to get sidetracked with Acolyte discussions. There were a lot of misplays there. And something I wanted to bring up, I'll mention it now since it's on my mind. I think, and I've said this before, Lucasfilm would be well served to be more transparent. A lot of these rumors about things happen because the lack of transparency. People don't have news, so they make up news, or people get a little bit of news and they blow it up to be a mountain of news. They're making a mountain out of a molehill, right? The common saying. They're taking a tiny bit of news, and sometimes it's not even news. It's a rumor. It's speculation. It's a leak. It's an unsubstantiated story. And they'll take this tiny bit and they'll make it into a huge story. And it makes its way around the interwebs. The internet grabs it and does what the internet does. All of a sudden, disarray, panic, sky is falling. And that's not the case whatsoever. But Lucasfilm, if they would just be more transparent, what's going on with the Rey movie? What's going on with this director, that director? What are the state of things? Give us an outlet. And I've suggested, since I'm a programmer and I write applications, Oracle database stuff for my day job, right? The real job. Um, make a dashboard and then give us some statuses of things. Tell us what's going on behind the scenes. Tell us just a little bit of news. You don't have to tell us story points. You don't have to give away the story, but just let us know, hey, this is going into filming in 3 weeks. This has been greenlit. It's scheduled TBD. This one release date has been set. This one has a new director assigned. Like that kind of news. If they would just give us a dashboard where you could follow along, what's the status of a droid story? It's dead. I don't know. What's going on? Is it alive? Does it still exist? Give us a dashboard. Let us know. It was just so easy, and it would stop a lot of this, right? Litrick says, I'm pumped as long as one character we didn't need a whole episode of Backlash, but still get it because it's a mini series and Daredevil did it with Karen. Well, that happens a lot, right? It happens a lot with a lot of stories. Matt Risman says, well, Spider-Man 4 just claimed July 2026 release date. They better get Mando and Grogu out before May 2026. Yeah, I think that's safe. I said it correct. It's electrics, but it's electrics. Okay, it's electrics without the E. Electrics. Thank you. I got it. Thank you. That's great. All right, let's get back to the pictures. Neil, this is going to be a merch friendly, right? This guy here is adorable. And then Meg covered this as well. We have a name of a planet. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. I even Googled on the Wikipedia kind of stuff. It doesn't really have a meaning. But you can see these kids are sitting out here. We've got some pools of water, ice, snow. There's some sort of a town or something back here. So they're out here having a discussion of some sort. I don't have any idea what that's about. Here, let me just close some of these as we go. And then here we go. Speeder bikes. Oh, the last time we saw speeder bikes, they weren't necessarily speedy, right? The mod gang in Book of Boba Fett. Let's hope that these are more speedy. It looks like, the background is all blurred. So maybe they're moving right along. And you can see Neil here, his hair is whooshed back. Even his trunk is like, inward. So let's hope that they're moving along at a decent pace. But again, maybe not. It could be camera panning that's catching the zoom back here. And they're just kind of going put, 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 right through town. Who knows? Oh, yes. The Vespa crew. Yes. Still want speeders in the woods. We got some speeders in the woods in the Acolyte, right? A little bit. All right. Then we've got another picture here. Here's Neil and another guy. They're in a bit of an establishment, right? It looks great. Yes, it does look better than the Power Ranger Skittle gang. Skittle troops. Yeah, maybe. Yes. A night sky, some swirly sky there. One of the stories, and Meg touched base on this, and you can see this pattern of lights, right? There's these, it's like a grid. See the little pink points of light in the sky? It's a pattern. I don't know if this is like a barrier that is catching movement coming in and out. I don't know if this is something that's moving overhead and they're just watching these things pass by. This guy is looking up, and so what are these things? We don't exactly know, but one of the leaks said that this planet that they start on is a bit uncharted, and that people are trying to find it, and maybe this is part of the what's the word I want? It's hiding them, right? This is obscuring them from being found. I don't know. Um, it, like an invisibility cloak, that kind of thing. Another kid. Now, this is where things started clicking in my brain. So you see this kid here, the rocks, the grass. We've got some dead grass and things, and we've got this like a dry river bed, a creek bed here. It's like a dry creek bed with some dead trees lying on the ground, dead trees, these big boulders. This is a creek bed of sorts. I was like, wait a second, I've seen this before, right? And I took some pictures. This is from Ahsoka season 1, Peridia. We've got dry, uh, you know, uh, tree bits here, dry grass. If you go further, you can see like the dry creek bed with some rocks. We've got similar kind of things there. Here's another dry creek bed with the dead grass, rocks, boulders. This, to me, looks like filming happened at the same place. Different lighting, but it looks like the same place, right? The filming, that's important to say. I think they were maybe filmed at the same place. Different lighting, right? One was shot more dark, one's more light. And I go back to what I mentioned about how Skeleton Crew and Ahsoka were shot like at the same time in neighboring studios. It's different scenery, but it looks like it was shot at the same place, which would not surprise me whatsoever that Lucasfilm, since these things are filming at the same time, they've got a film crew out at, some location, right? Got a film crew out there. We've got all the people from Ahsoka, and they're shooting, they're doing their filming, they're doing their scenes. Oh, okay, they're done. Stay put. Send them back on the bus. Bring in the next bus. Next bus has all the Skeleton Crew people, or vice versa, right? You shoot there. Maybe you change your angles. You got different lighting, but a different story. But it's shot at the same place. This time it's Tatooine. This time it's different desert planet, right? That's how I think it is. Right? It's a smart way to save money. Right? To me, yeah, and yet, to me, it looks like the same place. That does not mean that they're going to Peridia. Doesn't mean they're not. But I think it'd be a bit of a jump to say that they're going to Peridia. Right? Maybe not. I wouldn't come to that conclusion right away, because you remember how they get to Peridia. You got to have space whales or some sort of giant hyperspace ring, because it's so far away you wouldn't make it, right? So you need lots of fuel. You need lots of capacity to get there. This dormant ship that the kids find and get into, and it jets them off someplace, is not very likely to jet them all the way out to Peridia. So I think that's a bit highly, highly unlikely. But there you have it. Other news. They're bringing in some other characters. Here's Teak. And if you haven't watched the old Ewok movies, the Caravan of Courage and the Battle for Endor, here you see it. There's an Ewok, right? Teak is this guy here on the left. He runs super fast, almost as fast as Plagueis, right? This guy runs. He's a runner. Doesn't really, he doesn't speak an intelligible language, bits and bits, bleep, 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 that kind of stuff. But there's Teak. Also, when we saw this before from Michael Jackson's old Captain EO series, you got this critter here. It's going to be there as well. So we've got this thing from Captain EO. You got the part from the Battle for Endor. And reading this article, and again, credit to Matt Risman for sending this article along. Reading this article, gravitational pull. This comes from Empire Magazine. And I read through this article. A lot of the pictures that we've been seeing float around come from this article. They talk about how they got directors involved. They talked with John Watts. They talked with David Lowery, Bryce Dallas Howard. You get Jake Schreier, Lee Isaac Chung. By the way, if you would like to read this, you can find it on our Discord. And I saw that in the chat before. So you can find this article on Discord and you can read the entire thing. It's in the Skeleton Crew Spoilers channel. And then they talk about their first exposure to Star Wars. Then it goes further. Do you remember your first Star Wars experience? All of that. Then we get to some more content here. And how has your love of Star Wars ever seeped into a previous project? And they talk about that a little bit. And here's where Lowry talks about bringing in teak. It says, what's the greatest toy you get to play with on a Star Wars production? On a Star Wars production. And so they talk here, and this is where Lowry says teak from the Ewok movie, Battle of Endor. That's the guy we showed before, right? The white furry guy. Says it is just a little hand puppet. It is like, is it going to get digitally touched up or replaced? No, he's still just the digital. He's just the hand puppet, right? So there's that. Bryce Dallas Howard says, she got to work with Grogu. So it's sort of unfair to ask her that question. And they talk. So that's why the picture of Grogu is there. And then they go on to talk about other projects. How would you tease your Skeleton Crew episode in a single word? This is good. You get a little bit of insight into these episodes that are coming. John Watts says he has 2 episodes. He says beginning and end. I did the first one and the last one. So now as you start lining up episodes, when we get the episode titles and all of that, John Watts did the first one, beginning and end. Lowry says puppets. Well, he's going to do an episode with teak. Does that mean they're going to the same planet where the Battle of Endor? They're going to Endor? What's going on? Where are we going? The teak is there because he mentions teak, not just the species, but the guy, teak. And that'll lead to some speculation, right? Bryce Dallas Howard says friendship. That's a good word. The kids, right? Chung. So this cracks me up. She says, it gets real. Things get real. They said, you're only allowed one word. So she said, well, okay, fine. Shorten it to real. Okay. So if things get real, that means things are amping up. The heat is building, right? These are going to be more tense, more action-packed episodes. Schreier says, booby traps. Booby traps. Interesting. And then they talk about favorite creatures from Star Wars. If you could pick another filmmaker. So this goes back to the question I asked you all earlier. If we get a different writer-director, KG, booby traps. That's what she calls a bra. That's, KG. So this goes back to the question I asked you all earlier. Supposing the Rey movie moves forward with a different writer-director, who might that be? So John Watts says Francis Ford Coppola. Well, there you go. Let's shoot big. Francis Ford Coppola. Oops, wrong window again. Francis Ford Coppola. Let me just zoom in here. Come over here. Oh, come on. Okay, here we go. Francis Ford Coppola. Lowry says, I just saw Megalopolis and it reminded me of the Phantom Menace in a lot of ways. John Watts says, Lars von Trier's Star Wars would be good. He'd like to see Safdie Brothers Star Wars. So Safdie Brothers, Lars von Trier, never heard of these guys. Lowry says he would have loved to see David Lynch's Return of the Jedi. That's interesting. David Lynch. Bryce Dallas Howard says Frank Capra. because there's so much art and humanity. I like all the feels in terms of modern filmmaker. I don't know how you say this, but Janiska Bravo, she's a Star Wars fan. Chung says, we talked about Ambling, so what about Spielberg? She mentioned Spielberg. And then Bryce Dallas Howard wraps up the story. She says, well, he kind of has in a way. It'd be great for him to do a movie, but his influence is definitely felt. All those guys would really support one another and go into each other's editing rooms and shoot stuff. It was not so different than this generation, honestly. And she's talking about Spielberg working with Lucas, right? It was not about competition. It was about collaboration. None of us own Star Wars. How about that? None of us own Star Wars. It's a privilege to play in that sandbox. The spirit behind Skeleton Crew was so pure and driven by curiosity and excitement and taste and professionalism. It's beautiful to be a part of that. So Bryce Dallas Howard saying some good things. I love it. So that's the Skeleton Crew stuff. It's starting to build, starting to get some excitement. And I did one other thing. And I saw my friend Star Wars Obsession did this once. And I thought, well, I'll wrap up today's show just by exploring Twitter X. And let's see what people are saying. And you get a little bit of insight into what my Twitter feed looks like and why I can be so positive. I've purposely picked a lot of great people to follow, like Astromech Jeremy. We see him here lots. He's a big droid fan. And here he's showing some things behind Solo with my least favorite droid of all times, Lee, right? I despise her with a burning passion. But let's go back to the top. Here we see pictures again of Neil. This is an old video. Here's the Lucas Star Wars girl being quoted by Darth Thunder. Another fire from KK to talk about losing Stephen Knight. Jacob, hello there. Do you enjoy talking Star Wars? He's trying to get followers. Star Wars only. Have a new strategy for Lucasfilm. Don't announce any projects until they've wrapped filming and post-production. Nothing would market their projects better than saying, we have a new Star Wars film to announce, and it's releasing this year. That would be great. Or be more transparent on the stuff that you do announce, right? That isn't there. Happy birthday to Nika Futterman, voices Asajj. May the force be with you. Star Wars Lucasfilm, back when bring back Larry Kasdan to write Rey's movie. So there you go. Star Wars Only's playing along in the game. He says Larry Kasdan. Let's just get him involved. The Rey side, I like her a lot. She says, I'm told is not enough evidence to be a reliable news source. Why are they all giving this guy airtime? This is Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian Grogu has wrapped. So she's not necessarily, she's waiting to hear it from somebody more reliable. Just a reminder, making movies is wonderful and yet also a stressful experience. Talking about the Rey movie. There's Meg. This character is canonically called Bulbous Green. Meg, being rotten. Here's the thing about Maleficent from the latest Agatha, which I enjoyed. I'm enjoying that series. According to Daniel RPK, director James Mangold has confirmed his upcoming Star Wars film could begin filming as early as next year. Dawn of the Jedi is set 25,000 years in the past to explore origins of the Jedi. So there's a story. Daniel RPK is saying James Mangold's film may be the next one up. So if we get Mando Grogu in sometime 2025, we don't know when, and then you get Dawn of the Jedi sometime 2026, that puts the Rey movie for that December 2027 spot. It could still happen, right? I'm holding out hope. I've had my copium. I'm good to go. One of the things that annoys me most about Acolyte cancellation, we never get to know about Chimere's Sith name was. I would not say that, not so fast, because it very well could be that that story continues in novelizations and in comics, graphic novels. So not so fast. I think we'll learn a lot more about Chimera, Osha, May, and even Darth Plagueis in written form. Here's Star Wars the direct. It says Lucasfilms dropped Stephen Knight. Film's unlikely to hit the December 2026 release date. Yeah, unlikely. There we go. Another picture. We get some stuff about Mandalorian. Around the Galaxy ATG Live says, I've been a staunch defender, but when will Lucasfilm Disney learn damage caused by announcing germs of ideas is coming soon is more negative impact than the hope and excitement they create. Back to what Star Wars Only was saying, right? Just wait. Yeah, his Sith name is Darth Abs or Darth Biceps, right? Like guy was Darth Jacked. How about that? No. No Din Bo in the movie, please. Saber Smith says, "Oh no, I'm typically not a shipper, but I do ship Bo and Din. I'm for it." So here we get some poetry. It rhymes. I hate you. I know. I love you. I know. Dad. I know. Good stuff. I like it. So this is what my Star Wars feed looks like. I get a lot of positivity in my feed because I pick a lot of it, but I get a bit of the negativity too. And here we go. We want more Ben Solo, Kylo Ren's continuation. So there you go. That's my Twitter feed. There's other things coming. So maybe Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi will be the one that comes after Mando Grogu. I've enjoyed hanging out with you here. Again, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon. And I have a Mike Porter dad joke to wrap up the day. And you guys, this is good. You have to know the song for it to be, the best. But it says here, what did the Grand Moff sing every time he got into a starship? What did the Grand Moff sing when he got into the starship? It said, Tarkin to the limit one more time. Right? Tarkin to the limit. Tarkin to the limit. Tarkin to the limit one more time. Here you go. Thank you, Mike Porter, for that. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I won't be here next week. We're celebrating our anniversary, number 30. Wait, is this an even year or odd year? Even year. 38. We're up to 38 years the next Wednesday. So 38 years of marriage. And then we'll be back the following week. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you all for being here. And until next time, my friend, Merry Christmas and may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.